The school bullies had knocked down a black girl, but 10 minutes later, a white girl taught them a lesson they would never forget. It was a day in late March. That morning in Athens, Georgia, Maya Williams arrived at school early, just like always. She walked along the cracked sidewalk past the flagpole, where the American flag hung limply in the breeze. She clutched her old, worn denim backpack tightly against her chest. Her sneakers were simple, her hair pulled back in a lazy ponytail. No makeup, no fuss. She didn't mind being invisible. In fact, most days, she preferred it. Maya's mother, a nurse at St. Mary's Medical Center, had always told her to avoid trouble, to stay low, stay quiet, get through high school, and move on. Maya had learned to listen, especially after the car accident that left her older brother Jacob in a wheelchair. Since then, life was more about caregiving than parties or popularity. She helped Jacob with his homework, pushed him to physical therapy sessions, and learned early how to recognize cruelty wearing a friendly face. She was headed toward the school building that Monday when she noticed a group of kids near the front steps. 3 boys, football jackets, sneakers too clean, mouths too loud. Maya knew their names. Everyone did. Wes Dyer, Colton Reeves, and Logan Ward. Sons of men with power in town. Business owners, attorneys. One was the sheriff's nephew. They walked like they owned the pavement, and most days it felt like they did. In front of them stood a girl, small, dark-skinned, with tight black curls, pulled into a puff, her hands clinging to her backpack straps. Maya recognized her from algebra class. Her name was Brittany Moore. She had just moved down from Atlanta last month, and though Brittany didn't talk much, she carried herself with quiet confidence that didn't sit well with certain people. "Where's your hall pass, Beyoncé?" Wes barked. His voice carried across the courtyard, drawing a few chuckles from the hallway window. Brittany didn't answer. She tried to walk past them. That was her mistake. Colton stepped in front of her, forcing her to stop. Logan moved behind her. Maya couldn't hear exactly what they were saying anymore, but she saw it. Brittany's body tense, her fingers tightening. The way Wes leaned in, lips sneering. Then it happened. Colton shoved Brittany hard. She fell sideways, her backpack slipping off her shoulder, books scattering on the cement. Her knees scraped the pavement. Wes laughed. Logan whistled like it was a joke. Brittany winced but didn't cry. She just started picking up her things in silence, and no one moved. Not the students inside, not the teachers near the doors, not even the security guard sipping coffee from his SUV. Maya felt her heart pound in her chest, but her feet didn't move. She gripped her backpack tighter, jaw clenched. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "Keep your head down, baby. Just get through the day." But then Brittany looked up, just briefly, and their eyes met. Not a plea, not shame, just a quiet question. "Are you really going to do nothing?" Maya's stomach turned. 10 minutes later, the lunch bell rang. Students poured into the courtyard in lazy waves. The bullies had long since disappeared into the cafeteria. Maya didn't follow them. She walked back to the front steps and found Brittany sitting alone under the flagpole, dabbing at her knee with a napkin. There was blood on her sock. "You okay?" Maya asked. Brittany looked up, surprised. "Yeah, just scraped. Can I sit?" Brittany nodded. They didn't say anything for a minute. Then Maya asked, "You know how to throw a punch?" Brittany gave her a side glance. "Why, you planning on teaching me?" Maya didn't answer. She stood up, pulled a hair tie from her wrist, and tied her ponytail tighter. Then she looked across the field and spotted the boys, Wes, Colton, and Logan, laughing near the vending machines behind the gym. Maya took off her backpack and handed it to Brittany. "Hold this." Brittany blinked. "Wait, what are you?" But Maya was already walking. Each step felt heavier than the last, but her chest was burning now. She didn't know what she was going to say. Not exactly. She just knew that if she didn't do something, she'd carry that silence with her forever. The boys spotted her and exchanged grins like they were about to be entertained. "Well, well," Logan said. "Look who finally found her voice." Maya stopped a few feet away. She wasn't trembling. Her voice was even. "You think what you did earlier was funny?" Wes smirked. It was a joke. She tripped. "Really?" "Because from where I was standing, you shoved her." "And what are you going to do about it?" Colton asked, folding his arms. Maya looked at each of them. I don't need to do anything. You already did enough. There's security footage. The school has cameras at the front steps. You're all on it. That wasn't true. She didn't know for sure, but their faces changed. Logan laughed first, nervously. You're bluffing. Try me, Maya said. But just know, next time you touch her, I won't need cameras. Wes took a step closer. You think you're some kind of hero now? Maya didn't flinch. I think you're scared of people who aren't. Wes raised a hand like he might push her. But before he could, another voice came from behind. Don't. It was Coach Redmond, the track coach. He'd been cutting through the lot with a duffel slung over his shoulder, and he'd seen enough. The boys froze. Redmond wasn't the kind of teacher who gave speeches. He gave laps. You touch her, you're out, he said flatly. And I don't just mean off the team. Wes dropped his hand, glared at Maya, then walked away. Colton followed. Logan spat on the ground but said nothing. Maya exhaled slowly. When she turned around, Brittany was there, holding her backpack, eyes wide. Why'd you do that? Maya gave her a tired smile. Because someone should have. That afternoon, Maya found herself called into the principal's office, not for punishment, but because Brittany had told the front desk what happened. Principal Matz, a gray-haired woman with steel-rimmed glasses, asked Maya if everything Brittany said was true. Maya nodded. Every word. Matz leaned back in her chair and sighed. We've had issues with those boys before. This time we'll take it seriously. Maya nodded again. Before she left, Matz added, You did a brave thing. But I want you to know it's not your job to fix what's broken in this place. Maya turned back to her. Maybe not. But I won't be part of breaking it. That night at dinner, Maya didn't say much. She helped Jacob with his math homework, washed the dishes, and went to her room early. But when she opened her notebook, instead of doing homework, she began writing something else. A sentence that felt truer than any essay she'd ever written. Courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Not today. The next few days felt different. Maya noticed it in the way people looked at her, not with mockery like before, but with something closer to respect, or at least caution. Some students gave her a quiet nod in the hallway. Others whispered her name when they thought she couldn't hear. Brittany started walking beside her between classes, not saying much, just keeping pace like they had always done it. They didn't talk about what happened that day near the vending machines. They didn't have to. The silence between them wasn't heavy. It was understood. One afternoon, Brittany showed up at Maya's locker with a small box wrapped in brown paper and said it was from her mom, just to thank you. Inside was a bracelet woven fabric in black, red, and gold. Maya slipped it on without a word. It fit perfectly. That week, the boys who had shoved Brittany kept their distance. Wes still puffed his chest when he passed them in the hall, but he didn't say a word. Coach Redmond made sure of that, keeping an eye on him during gym class, his whistle always within reach. But tension doesn't disappear just because no one talks about it. It waits like a storm gathering at the edge of a clear sky. On Thursday, Maya noticed someone had scratched the word rat into Brittany's locker. Deep enough to leave marks, shallow enough to pretend it wasn't meant to be permanent. Brittany saw it and simply took out a sticker from her binder, one with a cartoon cat, and slapped it over the word without comment. Maya admired that quiet defiance. But inside, her fists curled. At home that night, Maya couldn't focus on her English essay. She stared at the blank screen while her brother Jacob wheeled into the room with a cup of cocoa. He didn't say anything, just parked beside her desk and placed the mug down gently. You're not mad, he said softly. You're hurt. It feels different, doesn't it? Maya blinked at him. He was only 2 years older, but sometimes he saw through her like glass. It's like I keep trying to be better, she muttered, and the world keeps daring me to stop. Jacob gave a tired smile. Maybe that's the point. Keep going anyway. She didn't reply, but she finished the essay that night. It wasn't her best work, but it was honest. The next day during lunch, Maya and Brittany sat under the oak tree near the back field where hardly anyone went. They talked about music, how Brittany missed her old gospel choir in Atlanta, how Maya used to sneak into her neighbor's garage just to play an old beat-up piano. Brittany said, "You ever sing?" Maya shook her head. "Only when I'm alone." Brittany smiled. "Then that means it matters." Maya didn't say it, but she thought about it all day. Something about Brittany's presence made her feel safer without being guarded, like there was no need to prove anything. But safety is fragile in high school, and the cracks began again that afternoon when a video started spreading. Old footage from the incident outside the gym, taken by someone who'd never spoken up, now suddenly bold. It showed Maya facing down Wes, just like it happened, but the captions twisted it. "Girl thinks she's a hero. Starts drama for attention." The comments underneath were worse. Some students laughed, others shared it. A few even edited it with music to mock her. By sixth period, Maya's phone buzzed nonstop. She turned it off. Brittany found her by the vending machines after school, holding out a pack of Twizzlers. "Peace offering?" she asked. Maya took one. "It's fine," she muttered. "Let them talk." Brittany tilted her head. "Is it really fine, though?" Maya looked away. "No, but I'm used to it." That night, Maya showed Jacob the video. He watched it quietly, didn't say anything until it ended. Then he asked, "What are you going to do?" Maya shrugged. "Nothing. Talking back just gives them more fuel." Jacob leaned forward. "So let them set the fire or build something from it." Maya sat with that thought long after he left the room. The next morning, she walked into school with her head high again, ignoring the whispers. But she noticed something new. A few students, ones she didn't even know, gave her small looks of support. One girl slipped a note into her hand in the hallway. It read, "Thank you for Brittany, for all of us." Maya didn't know who wrote it, but she folded it carefully and kept it in her back pocket. By Friday afternoon, things started boiling again. Maya was leaving the gym after PE when she saw Brittany pinned against the back wall near the maintenance shed. This time by a new face, a girl. Kenzie Walker, cheer captain, polished nails and mean eyes. Her words were low but sharp, slicing with every syllable. "You think this place is yours now just because some transfer kid played hero?" Maya saw Brittany's fists clenching but not moving. Her eyes darted toward Maya just for a second, and that was enough. Maya stepped forward, slow and firm. "Back off." Kenzie turned, eyebrows raised. "Oh, look, it speaks." Maya didn't blink. "You want to push someone?" "Try me," Kenzie scoffed. "Trust me, I'd love to. But you're not worth getting benched for." She stepped away, but not before brushing Maya's shoulder with fake sweetness. "Careful, new girl. Crowns don't last long here." Maya watched her walk off, then turned to Brittany. "You okay?" Brittany nodded. "Yeah." Then her voice cracked. "I didn't want you to come." Maya paused. "Why?" Brittany's eyes were wet but strong. "Because I wanted to handle it like you did for me." Maya let out a soft breath. "You did handle it. You stood your ground." Brittany looked away. "But I still needed you." Maya smiled gently. "That doesn't make you weak. It makes you brave enough to want backup." Later that evening, Maya got a message from Coach Redmond, asking if she'd consider joining a new student-led peer mentorship program. Not as a participant, but as a guide. She stared at the message for a long time before replying yes. Not because she felt like a leader, but because maybe someone out there needed what Brittany had given her. Quiet courage, unwavering presence, and the feeling that even in a cruel world, someone saw them. That weekend, Maya sat at her desk writing something that wasn't homework, wasn't for class. It was for herself. She wrote about what it felt like to be looked at like you don't belong, to be mocked for standing tall, to be told over and over again that silence is safer. And then she wrote the truth, that silence can be survival, but voice is freedom. And it starts not when the crowd listens, but when one person stands. By Monday morning, the hallway energy shifted again. The video that once mocked Maya had lost traction, buried beneath a wave of unexpected conversation. A student from the yearbook club had posted a counter video, one that showed Brittany getting pushed, Maya stepping up, and the full context of what had happened. No music, no edits, just truth. And that was enough. Comments began to flip. People who had once laughed were now strangely quiet. A few teachers even nodded when Maya passed by, and one of the counselors invited her to speak at a peer assembly about student conduct. Maya didn't agree right away. She wasn't sure she wanted to be a face for anything. She didn't ask to be noticed. She didn't fight for attention. She had stepped in because it was right, and somehow, that turned her into a symbol. That week, Maya and Brittany started sitting in the library during lunch near the tall windows where the sun painted soft rectangles of light across the carpet. They didn't talk about the past much anymore. Instead, they shared future things. Brittany wanted to start a poetry club. Maya joked she might teach self-defense classes if the school ever allowed it. They were becoming a fixture, not because they were loud, but because they were steady. One afternoon, a freshman girl approached them with a trembling voice and bruises she tried to hide with concealer. She didn't say much, just asked, "Can I sit with you?" Maya moved over, patting the seat beside her. Brittany gave the girl half her sandwich without a word. That moment said more than any speech ever could. But peace in schools like Eastbrook is always temporary. It happened fast. Wednesday afternoon after 6th period, Maya was on her way to the library when she heard shouting near the East Wing stairwell. Not angry shouting, panicked. She rushed toward it and found students gathered in a tight circle. At the center, a boy lay on the floor, eyes wide with shock, nose bleeding. Logan Ward stood over him, fists clenched, breathing hard. Someone screamed that he had snapped. Another said the boy had said something about Logan's sister, but Maya saw something else. Fear in Logan's eyes, not rage. Still, the damage was done. Administration arrived within minutes. Logan was escorted out in handcuffs despite his protests. Students whispered, phones recorded. No one stepped in. That night, Brittany called Maya, her voice shaken. "They're saying it was self-defense, that the other kid threw something at him first." Maya sighed, staring at the ceiling. "But nobody caught that on video, right?" "No, just the punch." "Same story, different day," Maya muttered. People only see what confirms what they already believe. By Friday, Eastbrook High felt like a pressure cooker. Rumors flew about Logan, about the other kid, about the school board possibly tightening disciplinary rules. Students started choosing sides again. Some said Logan was a thug. Others said he was just tired of being pushed. Maya kept her head down until Principal Matz pulled her aside after 3rd period. "I know you turned down the assembly," she said gently. "But we need a voice the students trust. Someone who's been there. Someone who understands what it means to be seen, to be misjudged." Maya didn't answer right away. She stared out the office window, watching the courtyard fill with students. "I'm not a leader," she finally said. Matz leaned forward. "Exactly. That's why they'll listen. You're not trying to be anyone but yourself." That evening, Maya sat in her room with her notebook open again. She thought about everything. Brittany's fall, the silence of that first day, the fear that gripped her when she walked toward the Bullies, the way her brother's hand always rested quietly on her shoulder. Whenever she felt like disappearing, she wrote, not a speech but a story. Her story, not polished, not perfect, just honest. The next day she stood in front of the student body in the auditorium, her heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear herself think. The microphone squeaked, someone coughed, then silence. She looked at the crowd. Students slouched in chairs. Teachers lined along the walls, a few holding clipboards like they were evaluating courage. She cleared her throat. "I'm not here to be a role model," she began. "I'm here because I once watched someone get knocked down for no reason, and I almost did nothing. I almost walked away." The room stayed still, but something in me said that if I walked away once, I'd keep walking forever. So I turned around. I stood up, not because I wanted to be brave, but because someone needed to feel like they mattered. She paused. What we allow becomes who we are. If we let silence cover up what's wrong, then we're part of the wrong. I'm not better than you. I've been scared. I've wanted to disappear. But I'm still here. And sometimes that's all you need to be for someone else to keep showing up. When she stepped down, the applause didn't come right away. But then it did. Not loud, not frenzied, just steady, real. After the assembly, Maya found Brittany waiting by her locker, a soft smile on her face. "I told you you had a voice." Maya smiled. "I didn't know it mattered until someone listened." Over the next week, things began to shift again, but slower this time. The student mentorship program launched quietly. A few freshmen joined. Brittany led the first poetry session in the library. Maya started showing up early to help with setup. The girl with the bruises kept coming. Others followed. Not because Maya promised safety, but because she modeled strength. One Friday evening, Maya sat beside her brother Jacob on the porch as the cicadas hummed in the trees. "You scared up there?" he asked. She nodded. "Still am." Jacob laughed. "Good. That means you're doing it right." Maya leaned back in the chair, staring at the stars peeking through the branches. "I used to think power was about punching the hardest," she said. "Now I think it's about knowing when not to." Jacob raised his cocoa. "To knowing." Maya clinked her glass. "To showing up anyway." And somewhere not too far from that porch in Athens, Georgia, another girl stood up in a crowded hallway. Maybe she'd been silent for too long. Maybe she saw something she couldn't unsee. Maybe she heard Maya's words in her heart. Words that didn't roar but whispered just loud enough. "Not today." Because courage once seen is contagious. And even when the world feels unkind, sometimes all it takes is one person, one Maya Williams, to change what silence looked like.